It's time to take a deep breath, a little deeper, and settle in with your host, Jenessee, starting right now on the Wellness Hour on KRMA Radio.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Emily, I'm so happy to be in studio with you.
Me too.
It's so nice. Ooh, we've had so many changes.
Yes.
So, do we even begin? Let's save that for later because we have so many exciting things to talk about today that we're really passionate to bring you more information on and really talk. I love just bouncing things off Emily because she sees a lot of what's going on, and she's living a lot of what's going on that I'm connected with through Solutionary TV and Ascension Series, and she's legit living these things day in, day out. She's a caretaker, she's a daughter, she's a sister, she's a part of humanity, and her passion is wellness and healthy living and consciousness. And so it's really fun to kind of bring what I'm having privy to through the different channels that I get to work with and bring it to her and see kind of where she is and what's vibing with her. So I'm going to pause. Deep inspirational pause. So what do you think about that, Emily?
That was so nice, first of all. But I feel like you've taught me so much and empowered me. The past couple of years and just working here, and it's like Jenessee has opened my eyes to so many new things and see life a different way, to really benefit from this life that we're living now and have the full effects of it, and just want to live a happy life and a high vibrational life and everything.
Yeah. Well, so what's that mean to you? Because we want to talk about Joy Jackson because we had her on Solutionary TV bringing Ascension Series through and talking about the whole Ascension movement that we're going through and or that we're conscious to. And so tell me when you use the word high vibrational living, what does that mean to you? Because Joy Jackson has so much information and ways to get yourself into high vibrational living. So tell me what it means to you to be.
Yeah, so high vibrational to me means to have positive energy, a happy energy, not being so negative to things all the time, not saying no to lots of things, say yes, be happy, put yourself in good aspects of your life, and living a healthy life, an energized life.
Yeah, and so people out there would say, oh, that's easy to say.
Yeah.
Easy to say, sometimes hard to do. And again, to use her name over and over. I mean, and I love that her name is Joy because she just has this vibration of joy. But that's what she teaches, and basically her whole passion to working with people and putting herself out there on a public stage is really to teach people how to find and how to understand that as humans we're meant to have these polarities. I mean, the fact that we are here and conscious means there's duality, that we get to express ourselves on every end of the spectrum that we want to, so that we can know ourselves and know the energy that's potential through experience. And so, but what she teaches, and something I've been a proponent of for so long as well, is this ability to use your external reality and things that are happening outside of you as a barometer of what's really going on inside of you. So it's this, I always call it the mirror technique, right? So anytime, and you expressed earlier, it's high vibrational living is being happy, it's being joyful, it's just enjoying life.
Yeah.
And so when people look at you and go, oh, easy for you to say, this is what I'm dealing with, I have to support my mom who's sick, and I'm having to work a dead-end job that's so demanding, and I'm fighting my addictions from the past that keep triggering me and keep coming back, and I have so many demons that come up for me day in, day out, and so people would look at that and say, look at the density I'm dealing with. How can you say it's this easy? And what Joy teaches, and I'm of course trying to shrink down the totality of her as this beautiful enlightened soul here doing the work that she's doing, but through her coursework and some of the programs that she has, and that's called, let me just plug it for her because I know she probably wouldn't plug it for herself, the Soul Ascension Mastery Program. It's basically all about teaching people how to raise their frequency, how to step into what Emily said earlier, this high vibe, just happy state of being where you know that the density's there, and you know that in your environment things are going to trigger you because it's a part of the divine fabric and potential in which we're all choosing to live right now.
Yeah.
And so, Emily herself has had crisis moments that she's dealt with over the past year. I feel like we've lived a lifetime. I say this to everybody I partner with. But how long has this now been going on for you?
Almost a year now.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
And her Nana has had cancer, and we're gonna give her a high vibration here. So she had a rough time. She was diagnosed, and Emily, if you're joining us for the first time, Emily will give a little background. Tell you lived with Nana. You kind of left home. Not that it was a bad situation, but you just wanted to be with Nana, who lives a few blocks away from mom and family. But give a little background.
So Nana had lung cancer. Well, she still does, but it's
managed.
Yes, it's managing, and we've kind of helped her along with food and high vibration, like being happy and just having good things into her life.
Physical, emotional, mental.
Yes.
Restructured.
And it's very hard. I mean, the other day, everyone has their ups and downs, and the other day she was very sad, and I was like, you have to make yourself happy. You have to want to be happy. Like, you have to try. It's not just going to come easy to you.
So that's perfect. So Joy talks about this higher mind connecting to the heart, and she herself will say, I hate using these contextual, the verbiage, this verbiage that doesn't resonate for somebody who's going through the SHIT of the moment, right?
Yeah.
That's having the crisis moment, that's in the density, that can't see beyond the fog. And so she says, I don't like using these really elevated words because it's not resonating with people in the state that they're in. And so she says, what I teach is joy and play and how to find, and she even said on the program on last Monday night's program, which you can find on YouTube, it was phenomenal. Please, if this is inspiring you, or if Joy sounds like somebody you want to follow, you can find her on Facebook, but also on the Solutionary TV Presents Ascension Series YouTube channel. You can watch the whole interview there. But Joy basically said, what I teach people to do is go back into that child, who they were, and that child at between 5 and 12 that was so full and vibrant within life and had dreams and didn't see any walls or any barriers between who they were and what they could accomplish, right? You talk to my 7 and 8-year-old son, and one wants to be a gamer, a YouTube star doing his own gaming, and the other one wants to be a professional soccer player, right? And it changes. When they were 5 and 6, one wanted to be a gardener, and one wanted to be an astronaut. It's like, it doesn't, they don't see any boundaries. They don't see any distinction between who they are and what they can achieve. And so it really feels like through Soul Ascension Mastery Program, facilitated by Joy, and this is the culmination of her life work and her being an intuitive and her guiding so many different souls through this expansion and this journey that leads to so many questions. So, you and I have been lucky enough to be partnered together in this life during certain transition times where we had each other as a mirror, we had each other as a validation, and when you were triggered in your crisis moment, you had people surrounding you. You were working in a place that facilitated lots of wellness leaders and doctors and people who had and it's not always the answers, but had paths that
Yes.
you could search through. And so in that, you know, we've had the validation, and so there are people out there that are being triggered and that are desperately seeking the validation or somebody to tell them, you know, it's okay, you know, this happens to the best of us. This is part of the ascension, you know. If you're going down this consciousness path, and I always say, as soon as you ask yourself the question, what's my purpose, or why am I here, right?
Yeah.
That knees to the ground moment, looking up, like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Once you have that first singular question, your entire reality expands, and you start basically going down this path of ascension.
Of finding yourself.
Finding yourself.
Yeah.
And so, do you remember when you first started questioning? Do you remember that moment? It was very clear for me, mine. I'm wondering if you had that.
Well, it's weird because I think a few episodes back you asked me that same question, and I said, oh, it was easy when Nana got diagnosed with cancer. But
Yeah.
I talked to my boyfriend Grace, and he was like, no, it was like way before that. Like, you started questioning things like way before. I think it was like 2 summers ago when I came down to your office, and I was like, I need to cut down my days. I need to find myself. And
Full body goosebumps. That was
Yeah.
that was your moment.
yeah.
So go into that. That's because that is. It's really, I think.
And it takes a long time.
Okay, so this is the one thing people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
It's so. Let's just how do we fluff that in a really beautiful way? So it is the most deeply personalized, intense journey you will ever take when you first start questioning who you are, what your purpose is. As soon as that first thought comes through, again, it's almost like that thought comes through, and then you almost get thrown right back into life, and it's like your first initiation happens where you get tested by divine, like, are you going to stick to this? Are you going to try and seek it out? Here, we're going to throw this at you.
Yeah.
And so that first year, you're almost not even realizing that you've basically just welcomed Pandora's box of ascension into your reality.
Yeah.
And in that space, it's almost like this, you're 1 foot in unconscious reality, if we can say that about anybody, and then 1 foot in conscious reality, where you're trying, your subconscious world is trying to decide, am I going to stay deaf, blind, and mute to the total potential of who I am as a divine soul being here on earth, or am I going to take the leap of faith and full force just move in, vulnerable and open, and deal with what I've created up until this point?
Yes.
Yeah, and so for you it was this, and I remember it, you came down, and it was interesting because I was offering you a raise. Do you remember this?
No.
So we worked together in 3D. I was her boss in 3D. I offered you a raise because I wanted you to work more, because I saw how amazing of a worker and how your heart was in everything you did. I offered you a raise, and you basically broke down crying. And you're like, it was as if I had, it was the complete opposite reaction that you expect from somebody when you offer them a raise, and I'm saying I'm validating you and your work, and that was the worst thing at that moment that you could have ever heard, because you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right as the piece of puzzle to my life or what's happening right now, because the raise, and it's interesting because I recently left that job that we are talking about. And the one reason why I left was because I realized that I had been, and I'm going to use a big word, prostituting my spiritual self for the security and foundation of a monetary salary. And it had kept coming in. I was triggered over and over. You are using a foundational excuse, which was security and money, to basically stay in a place that's holding you at right below the glass ceiling, right? I was in a career, and it was time for me to follow my purpose work. And so the one thing that was holding me back was, the money and foundation that I was providing for my family.
Yeah.
And so your trigger moment in this expansive, you had started questioning, you were coming in, we were talking about where you were going to go. I was gonna try and get you to do more, and you were trying to do less because you were having these epiphany moments that I don't, there's more and I'm feeling it, but I don't know what it is and I don't really know how to explain it. And as soon as I said, here, take more money and work for me more in this 3D reality, you broke down. You legit went like, I was not expecting it. It was the most interesting environmental reality shift for me, and I was like, whoa, I am not going to do this to Emily again. I'll let her come to me next time and ask for this. And you're the part of you that could have prostituted yourself and said, oh, my boss is saying I'm valued here and wants me to do more. Maybe that's the archetype I should play into. Okay, somebody outside of me is telling me I'm doing good working and they're going to give me more money to work harder for them. And inside of you, it clicked. It's like something broke and you went, no way, this does not feel right. This is not me. And you had no clue how to verbalize it, but your body went into the emotional reaction it needed to let me know, Emily needs to find herself right now. And that's exactly what you did. And you really created for yourself this beautiful flow of energy where you got to, I think after that is when you started doing more family trips and breaking away, and which also allowed you to touch not only that family dynamic and that family matrix, to really tap into that and to connect more fully for then the crisis moment, which was going to happen a year later, which was going to be your second initiation into this divine envelopment, right, of your soul self here on earth. And when Nana got diagnosed with cancer, and you had started to establish this foundation of family and connection, and I don't know if you would own that, but it seems like you were a big component in this glue for your family matrix. And
Definitely.
And then all along the way, you started going really deep dive into nutrition. And let's go back to Joy Jackson, because we just discovered this. I mean, this isn't even something we talked about on the Ascension Series with Dr. Irvin. We didn't even have time to get to it because I really need you guys, if this is interesting at all to you, Joy Jackson on Facebook. She runs a lot of different Facebook pages. Her website is The Backyard Mystic. You can find and connect with her there. And that's where you can find and connect about her Soul Ascension Mastery Program. But we were playing around, and Emily found her Facebook page.
High Vibrational Living and Recipes by The Backyard Mystic. And so she talks about all these things of how to make yourself high vibrational, and you can do it by like sitting in the sun, dancing to music.
Can I just break? Because
okay,
I'm gonna go super vulnerable. So we talk about this with Nana. We go rabbit hole here. We never stick to one topic. So sun. Okay, so for me, sun is ultimate power. Number one, I'm a Leo, which, I don't know much about astrology. I trust my friend Diane Trimbath to give me all astrology knowledge. But basically, I'm like ruled by the sun, right? And like when I ever first found out I was clairvoyant, that sentence didn't make sense. When I found out I was first clairvoyant, I was taken on the Rainbow Bridge, which has been my tool for leaving this time space, and I, oh my gosh, it feels like we've been talking for a long time. Wow, we've slowed down time. Usually we're at this point and it's already 30 minutes in. Okay, back to the Rainbow Bridge. So so I was taken on the Rainbow Bridge to the Great Central Sun. And Great Central Sun is, you can look it up if you've never heard this term before, but it's basically, this is ultimate transmutation of earth density area. It's basically what creates, gosh, how do you even drill this down? But basically it is the high vibration that is within all of us, right? So to align to this is to align to a very high potential for humans, right? And so I was taken there for the very first time. I was having a very deep clairvoyant experience. And so sun for me has always been a connection. And living in Ohio, we don't get this very much. And so I will, and let me just premise this by saying, I'm going to tell y'all, I go into a tanning bed every once in a while, and I know, like, there's so many people out there in this human collective that will tell you how bad it is, and so you have to, of course, make these decisions for yourself. I'm not doing it every day, but there are times when I definitely connect. And so here's what I do. We have such a, so number one, I am a big believer that, that nothing here on this earth, nothing here that is within our 3D connection that we could actually engage with, that's been created either by nature, human, spirit, whatever you want to say, anything here that is here, we are able to use. And we are able to use it in a high vibrational way and have it have no effect on our lower density, or creating lower density. Like, people will tell you tanning beds create cancer.
Yeah.
And so, yes, if you're going to buy into that construct, that human construct, yes. Emily and I have talked about this when Nana, what was it, smoking?
Yeah.
So we talk about this, where I've been to Peru and done a ceremony with shamans in Peru and native elders, and they smoke umpacha or whatever it is. Like, they light one, smoke it, and are already lighting another during the entire ceremony, right? And how they imprint the smoke is that it actually clears any density, any negativity from the blueprint of the people that they are connecting to and working with, and in the fabric of during ceremony. And so they see the smoking as a high vibrational tool to basically release density, where in westernized North America, or many places, we have imprinted smoking with being a carcinogen that is causing cancer. And yes, I mean, let's just go to number one, how these things are made. And in Peru, and where I was with the shamans, I mean, they're rolling,
they're like handmade.
Yeah, we're not adding chemical processes to it and everything. So there is a level, layer, and depth of, vibration and how these things are put together. But I also believe, this is a personal truth, that you can go and transmute anything that is here of this world in third dimension that we have access to is here for us to use. Whether it's for us to use to learn more about our power over it, or to gain more wisdom from. But so anyways, I'm just really long. But when you talk about using the sun, so I mean, I'm going to what most humans would consider highest density negativity potential, which would be a tanning bed, which again, I maybe have done this, like, if I'm going to California from Ohio, I'll start to slowly do it, because I know I'd rather do a base
layer
than go to California and get my butt burned right there and have the potential of the reactive oxygen species create, the bad inflammation inside my body. But anyways, so there's levels, and then some people will tell you don't go out in the sun without your sunscreen, right? So there's different levels to it. But anytime, so this is the entire point. This is the deep dive we just took to get to this point. So you're saying one of the ways that she instructs on how to go high vibration is to go into the sun. And so whenever I'm in the sun and I can feel UVB is the burning ray, we've talked about this before on the show, and as soon as you can feel the warmth touch your skin, you've got UVB connecting to you. Anytime I go out and I actually feel the sun kiss my skin, I will pause and I will say, I allow this light to update, upgrade, and activate my cellular DNA, and I align myself to the highest frequency energy that surrounds me, that moves through me, that is me, that that I'm creating. And so anytime I'm with elements like this, and it's not just sun, but when I'm laying in that tanning bed, I sit there the whole time. As soon as I feel the warmth hit my skin, I start into mantra, and I say, the light that surrounds me, I allow it to update, upgrade, activate, and change my DNA and cellular structure to the highest level of attunement. And so I just sit there and I transmute, and I feel the vibration move through on a cellular level, and so I'm activating. And so I love this. I mean, we just discovered a lot of this deeper knowledge and wisdom that Joy Jackson was presenting, and I find it so fascinating. We all have these these things that we do that are so interconnected.
Yeah, definitely.
So what else did she say? Because that was a very...
So she said, dance to music or listen.
Oh, can I talk about that one too?
Yeah.
So it's funny because this is something that, I love through Ascension Series with Dr. Tatiana Irvin. She is such a soul sister, and through some of my other connections to people I would credit with being such ascended masters here on earth, just facilitating the frequency and vibration that everybody's kind of stepping into. And I'm so thankful to be so heart connected to these people. But it's funny, recently I've been validated when I first started meditating. And I thought it was just me because I grew up in California, couldn't get into LA clubs, and so we'd go to raves because raves didn't ID you. And all I wanted to do was dance when I was younger. And so when I would go into meditation and clairvoyantly see my guides and angels, there would always be a part where we'd be dancing. And I always thought it was just a goofy thing. And so Dr. Doris Cohen, who is a clinical psychologist here in Ohio, and she's published author by Hay House, has done multiple two dream books, or maybe one or two dream books, and has a book on tapping for repetition. I think it's called something repetition. And I was sitting in conversation, or one of her lectures, and she was saying how the angels love to dance. The angels love to dance, and I was like, oh, they dance with you too? And then Dr. Tatiana Irvin said, she's like, oh my gosh, they dance. And I was like, wait a minute, everybody's having these experiences? So it's so much fun. I love this. And now fourth person, it's just mind-blowing to me that this, I thought that was my
little thing,
right? I thought it was my techno rave that was going on in the higher planes of existence, but I guess everybody likes to dance. So and it shifts trauma. I mean, when we actually oh gosh, now I'm not going to know the word. Anyways, there's a term for this that Papa, I know you're listening. Selena and Anna Death Judith, Selena, her friend, would do this, and she was also a clinical psychologist, Selena was, and she, her whole practice, and I think she had written books or had workshops at Kripalu, her whole practice was using dance and, gosh, I can't think of the word. Why am I being blocked from this word? All I'm thinking of is shamanic, but it's not. And so through dance and movement, you can release trauma through the body. And so this is, without having to know, and this is one of Joy Jackson's big things, is we don't need to get into mental field. When we get into mental field, things just, we want to control, we have expectations, it gets so convoluted when things get into that software processor of our brain. And so when we can just realize that when you're sitting in a car, and this is how I use music frequency, when I'm sitting in my car, if I turn to a new station or have a song on, if I can't feel it moving through my body, then I know I'm blocked somewhere. And so I actually use the music to find out what I'm holding on to that's density. Right? And so I don't have to know. Do you do that too?
No, but that's cool to think about, and do. Yeah.
So I always used to teach people, and you can, again, this is where mental field starts getting in, but you could sit there and try and think about, okay, well, where is this? No, my sacral area is super happy right now. Heart, oh, my heart's good. And then you get up to head, and it's like, oh, there's the density, right?
Yeah.
So that's getting more into mental field and wanting to know why, which interesting, because Dr. Irvin was talking about one of the ways that once you start doing some of these practices. So Joy Jackson says, keep it joy-filled, keep it playful, and we all know kids. So think of your kid. They ask you why. As soon as they hear 3 words, they're already out. They're already checked out. They don't care. They just wanted to, probe for a minute, and then they got the vibration or whatever it was, and then they're out. It's and you're still wait, I have a whole, paragraph to download onto you, and they're nope, I'm out. I got what I needed.
Yeah.
So take this as the example of how we kind of start to integrate this stuff. You don't have to know why, but as you get deeper and deeper into your practices and recognize what's feeling right, when you're out in the sun, you know, and just allowing that sun to move through you, right? And feeling it. See how deep you can feel it in your body. If you're feeling it on your face, try and make it go down through your arms, your core, your legs, and into the earth. If you're feeling it on your arm, through the window of your driving, right? Because that always happens. So then if you're feeling it on that left arm that's resting on the windowsill, then pull it through your shoulders, into your head, down your other arm, down your body, and then send it down into the earth. Like, work with this energy.
Yeah.
Start moving it through you. Don't acknowledge it first and get into the pattern of acknowledging it. And then start to play with it and see how you play with it with the music, right? So realize, I'm not even listening. There's music on and I'm not even hearing it. I'm in my mental field, or I'm detached of it. So then try and work with it. See if you can like jam to it, even if it's country.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Like, because there's so many times where you're sitting in the car and you're like thinking about something and you don't even hear the music. You're just thinking about it in your head.
Yeah.
Where a few episodes back you talked about how you're thinking and your tongue's on the roof of your mouth.
Oh yeah.
I always catch myself doing that now.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, I gotta take my tongue back off my mouth.
Yeah. So yes, that's one of my, grounding, being present and grounded in your world is one of the biggest things, right? So we could tell you top 10 ways to transmute and heal yourself right now. And none of it would matter if you weren't grounded and present in your reality to actually catch these things happening.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're just trapped in your mental field. And for me, it's funny, I'm actually rewriting my book right now. I have a go-to published date or go-to print date for September. I can't even say this out loud without just thinking I'm crazy. And so I'm actually at the point where I'm rewriting the like typical linear construct of the chakras and going into depth about it and what my first experience was with it. And I was rewriting root chakra the other day, and the experience that I had pulled out was how I first realized I was not grounded. And it was basically when I had been doing so much meditation, so much work in my mental field that I was detaching from my actual life, I was losing connection to the 3D, and all I wanted to do was go sit in a 90-minute meditation and connect with divine, and all I wanted to do was go work on myself and get the plan in my head out, or write the books, or create create whatever the next thing was, right? So I think about energy like what is that, a timepiece that has the granules of sand with them?
Oh, yeah.
An hourglass.
Yeah.
Think of an hourglass, like, and you want the sand to be perfectly balanced in each. And what we tend to do as humans is either we're too grounded and we're not connected, we're too into our physical and material world, which is all the sand down at the bottom, or we're flipped and it's all the sand up in the head, and we're trying way too hard to control our reality, be in that higher state of experience. And the goal is to stop time. Ooh, oh my God, I'm going to use this for something. To be right there in that no time, no space center point of heart, right, where we're completely connected, because the heart's the bridge between high self and low self. So when we can get everything right there in that ooey gooey center part, we basically stop time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Emily, that's such a good metaphor. I didn't even know.
Are you going to put that in your book?
No, let's not. I can't. I have too much. I'm seeing it on the cover though. And so I was rewriting the root chakra part, and basically I was so in my mental field. And I would go outside, and my husband and the kids would actually laugh at me, because I would walk, you know how dogs walk on snow, like prissy dogs walk on snow, how they like pull their feet up and down.
Yeah, they don't want to touch it.
They don't want to touch it. That was me on grass. I was like, I hate the feeling of grass. And it took me a little while, let's just say a year. I don't know if I'm exaggerating or if that was the actual time length. It probably was. That I was just detached. I was so detached from reality. And so as soon as I recognized I was that detached, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I wasn't able to manifest things. I had no connection to 3D reality. And so that's when I started the grounding process. And one of my really amazing tips was the tongue. So, and I learned this from my insomniac days, because when you have an active brain, your tongue typically resides behind the top teeth on the roof of the mouth, pushed up there. And so I call it like the tongue barometer. If it's up there, you're basically in your mind. And when it can be relaxed down behind the bottom teeth, it's almost like your energy's lowering and grounding. And so typically throughout the day, I'll catch myself, like you were just saying, if it's at the top of the roof of the mouth, you know that you've been a little too overly active in that mental center. And so it's a great way to catch.
Yeah, definitely.
Were there any?
Oh yeah, and then so other ones.
So Joy Jackson, the third point.
Get creative. Just like paint or just do things that you love. Cook in the kitchen. Do fun things.
And this is all to basically induce higher vibrational states of living.
And then the other one I thought was really cool was practice unconditional love. Yeah.
How would you do that?
Just like, even when I know like Nana isn't being what I want her to do.
Control. Yeah. Control an expectation over somebody else's
life. Just love her how she is, or if your kid or pet does something bad, or like if they poop in the house, just, it's okay. It's okay.
Unconditional love. I love that you use a poop as, because when shit is going down is basically what she was visually saying. Love anyways. Yes. Yeah, so let's go high frequency with it, which Joy, keeping it in resonance with mainstream and how can we do this. It's unconditional love, just love. When you have a choice, right? The beauty of being human and having free will is that we get to choose. Yes. And so we are going to constantly be triggered, especially if you've listened to this for the last 35 minutes. It means you're on this ascension path and you're a part of this consciousness movement. And so if you've listened up until this point, no doubt you're on the path and you're getting triggered, because that's just what happens. We keep getting asked to release more density. And there comes a point where you're not only releasing it for yourself, but you're releasing it from the human collective, which becomes a huge transmuting process where you get triggered by things that you don't even know why you're triggered, but you're sensitive enough now to actually hold higher, not higher, let's actually say denser, but more of this collective energy where it's not just you, and it was never just you, but a lot of times in the beginning you're transmuting based off of your own experiences, and then you'll start crying on commercials, and you'll start holding waves of depression or sadness, and you have no clue why, and then a week later there's a bombing somewhere, and you're like, oh my God, I was holding space for all those people that were just going to leave and leave this space time, right? And so you were holding space to transmute and help basically hold the vibration for those people to transcend or to ascend, let's just say. Anyways, so off topic. So basically with this, what you were saying about tapping into unconditional love, I always say my dad's texting me. Anytime I use his name on radio, he starts texting me, telling me things to say. So I always told my husband, I have detached acceptance over our relationship. And, when he was going through his process and not completely standing on top of the mountain with high perspective, and I tell him this, he'd get offended. Because anytime you tell somebody, I have detached acceptance of you, right? It's like a trigger. It's like an immediate trigger where they're like, oh my God. But it is, to me, it's crown chakra concept. It's one of the highest vibrations you can hold space for somebody to live within. And that's exactly what you just described with Nana. I'm going to detach from any expectation over who I think you should be, what I think you should be doing. And I'm just going to hold space, a loving space for you to live your life without any attachment to any of this external world where I expect you should look this way or do this or be this way or say these things or love me like that, right? So you can completely detach and have just the highest vibrational of accepting each individual human for who they are and where they are in their own process, where they are standing on that mountain, then it eliminates so much of their exterior. So I always see this as people being like these eggs, right? So you've got your energy field around you, or gumballs. Let's just use gumballs. because I like the visual of gumballs inside of a gumball machine, because that's our Earth, right? Our Earth is a gumball machine, and we're all these tiny little gumballs that are like sharing space with each other. And when one person floats out of the bottom, like everybody else kind of piles down in on each other. And so this is how we connect, right? We're all just a degree of separation from the next person. And when we actually have expectations over people and what their path should look like, that creates an energetic cord between us. And they don't, if they're not sensitive enough and haven't done kind of a lot of their energetic work or self-actualizing work, then all they understand is there's another feeling that they have to be something or do something, and they don't know why. They think it's a creation of their own internal makeup. And so, you know, when you're expecting Nana to not smoke, eat totally vegan, not use poisonous cleaners in the house, and whatever, right? All of these expectations you have. Then when she goes to maybe go smoke, you know, what she's dealing with are not just her demons. She's now feeling the attachment that you've layered on top of her also, and she's now dealing with your demons, and she's also dealing with human collective's demons on what we've demonized smoking to be, and layer upon layer upon layer. And now this girl, think about it, is laying under a weight of multiple layers of concrete that are basically crushing her energetics, right?
Definitely.
And taking away her ability to see clearly what her authentic connection is within that, because she's holding so much attachment to everybody else's concepts of who she should be, right? And all we're trying to do as ascension consciousness individuals is get back into who am I authentically. When you can resonate and vibrate who I am authentically and not let anything take you out of that, you are ascended master teacher, conscious light worker here in this space this time. And that's what Joy Jackson says is, you know, there's this whole disclosure movement. She says that moving past that, we're in this light worker movement. And the light worker movement is what we just described. It's helping people step fully into, it's empowerment. It's the light worker movement is basically holding so much light within your core channel because you have grasped who you are, and nothing can take that away from you. And this is what I always say when people talk about negativity or things outside of our seen universe, right? These interdimensionals, these potential demons or negative entities, right? So people talk about these things, and it's like once you step into this core pillar, this core channel of authentic light, and nothing, no human can push you out of that, you have established that through all time space, I am creator God being, and nothing can tell me I'm anything different than what I'm feeling internally inside. Yeah. And that is the ultimate goal. When you can hold that space, there is nothing in human form, there is nothing in interdimensional form, there is nothing in cosmic reality, our connected cosmic brothers and sisters, there is nothing out there that can take you out of that resonance, out of that stillness of what you came here to create as your unique vibration.
Definitely. And I say, like, Joy Jackson is probably the master of that. She is the believer, and she's her energy is guiding everyone.
Yeah, she's basically handing all of this power back to people and saying, you know, I'm not here to take this away from you. I'm not your master. I'm not your guru. I'm here to show you have this.
Yeah, you can do it too.
You are the total picture of divinity. Now let's get you to see that and believe that. Let's get you to transmute and recognize that everything in your environment is just a reflection of what's going on internally. And let's do this through joy and play and finding your happiness. And we can make this a really simple process. And again, through her Soul Ascension Mastery series, she does a really good job at helping people who don't want to hear. And so I'll take that back. She does a really good job at helping people step into that full authenticity where you are the core pillar of light. You are the channel that not only lives your vibration day in and day out, knows what that is, but you also... you can also now be that core pillar that basically reflects to other people, hey, look, this is divine potential. And you have it too, because as soon as we claim our own space, it's basically allowing others to step into that space so much easier. Yeah,
definitely. So amazing.
So amazing. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What were we saying in the very beginning? I was like, oh, we'll talk about them. Oh, our transition. So is there any, I brought my cards. I felt like there was going to be a fun moment to play with
You want to do your cards?
I think I want to play with the cards. Yeah? Do you have questions? You always connect to the collective so divinely.
Okay.
I'm feeling, though, like we're going to do a Celtic cross layout.
Ooh.
We're going to go deep, so I'm going to have to talk quick because we got 15 minutes. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're using the Chakras Vibrational Oracle deck, and so if you follow me at all, this is the culmination. This deck is the culmination of the work from the 77 Windows to the Soul book. So what that book is that I'm producing right now to have published by September. You just have to laugh at these things sometimes. These cards are the 77 Windows to the Soul that book is all about. So,
are you going to do a book tour?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. On my, I feel like it'd be a circus. No, I don't know. You want to organize my book tour?
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, find Emily on. Oh, what's your blog again?
It's called purelypurposefulliving.com.
Purelypurposefulliving.com. That's how you find Emily. I'm chakrasroottocrown.com. That's how you find me. So if you want me to come do a book signing for you, just contact Emily. She's apparently setting up my book tour for the 77 Windows to the Soul. Can we rent a little tiny home too? And just
it's gonna have 77 windows too.
Oh my god. Okay, look for the tiny home. Well, 77 windows isn't so tiny. It'll be tall. We won't be able to go under bridges or overpasses. Okay, so everybody take a big, deep, collective breath with me, inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. Everybody drop into that heart space. So feel how the breath comes in through the nose, circulates down, moving down through the throat, the head, hits and drops down into that beating heart, exhaling out through the mouth. Everybody getting nice and still, finding that still point within the center of the heart. All of you who joined us on the pre-show link last night got to do this in a really cool way, and that'll be uploaded. There was a really phenomenal meditation, new experience for me, never channeled this before, and it was this interesting 0 point space in the heart that they were taking us out of and pulling us into. So that'll be uploaded on Solutionary TV presents Ascension Series on YouTube if you want to do this meditation more fully. Oh geez, that's why I went sidetracked. We get scared answering that phone call. We don't know what it is. Okay, so back to the heart. Okay, so breathing in through the nose one more time. And exhaling, dropping down, out through the mouth. Putting all that focus, awareness on the beating heart. So now we're just going to we're going to read you here. If you have any specific question, the Celtic Cross layout is really good for a specific question. And if you don't have a specific question, we're going to basically be reading aspects of you very clearly. So just, if you can't formulate something into a question, visualize a bucket. Pour everything that's in your energetic field, in your mental field, into that bucket. And then send the cards the bucket. Or send the bucket to the cards. We're just going to read it here. All right, so this is all about, so you are right now aligning your voice to your purpose. So this is all about speaking your truth. But what we're being reminded is that there is a level of concentration here, and I'm going to say that this is actually something that's coming in. It's a spiritual lesson that we're going to mental field, that you're still, and I think the past 3 times I've read cards for this collective audience, we have been told in our head too much and not just speaking our purpose, speaking our authenticity. So this is it's telling you right now that you are too in your head. You're allowing your mental field to basically take away the vibration that's wanting to drop once. So again, let's go back to how we get downloaded with our divine purpose, right? It comes in as a feeling something outside of us that gets dropped into our field of awareness through the crown chakra. It settles into our third eye chakra, which becomes this area where we start to see clearly what we're supposed to be doing in life, whether this is an immediate thing or it's a bigger picture thing that we're supposed to be doing. And then usually what happens is that basically comes down right into throat, and we either have internal self-dialogue with our mental field and kind of analyze, and I call this the boss. Our throat chakra is the boss, because internally it's basically interviewing the mental field and saying, well, where are the holes in this plan? Where are we going to fail here? The voice starts to do all this internal dialogue and chatter with the mind. And when we can have that whole internal dialogue happen, and then allow that to settle into heart center, we can then start to feel into what we're supposed to be doing right here in this moment in time, that's then going to co-create and actually become physically manifested in our life. And here, this first card, the U card, is saying, your voice is what's aligning you to your purpose. And there's a bit of mental field stuff that keeps this concentration, you need to be speaking. You need not to be thinking so much right now, is what it is boiling down to. So now we're being told what's blocking us is the ability to appreciate that our high self is always connected to this heart. So as I was just saying, as we then move this download, this purpose that we're supposed to be manifesting, as the voice drops it down into the heart center, what the heart starts to do is align to the feeling of this energy. And as we decide how our heart is feeling, what our heart wants, then we allow all of this energy to go down into our lower chakras, which actually make it physically able to manifest into our reality. And what this is saying, what's blocking us, is this ability to appreciate that this highest wisdom that's coming through is aligned to our heart. That, again, as this information is boiling down through our chakra centers and becoming more easily manifested, that we're basically there's distrust coming in. We need to appreciate that high self knows, that purpose knows, that what we've been downloaded with, what we've been gifted with, is what we need to be manifesting right now. Does this make sense, Emily? Mm-hmm. It needs to be manifested right now, and it's basically showing us the trajectory. So the voice is speaking, needs to be speaking our purpose, what we've been kind of gifted as this bigger picture, right? And now it's saying what's blocking us is we're distrusting the heart. You have to appreciate that the heart also knows that we're starting to bring it into our feeling body, and we're getting confused. So what's creating the foundation here? So there is, and this is going back to this download, we have attachment. This is shadow side of crown chakra, and this is coming in as the platform we're building from. Right now, it's saying that we are having too much attachment over this download. Is everybody understanding what the download means? So this thing that's basically you're thinking about, this purpose, this thing you're supposed to be doing, this divine connection that's coming through for you right now, whatever you're questioning, what this is saying is you have too much attachment over what this looks like. And so you're basically blocking this purpose from coming through. And this is foundational. So this is like how we actually start to create this in our physical reality. As it's going down and becoming more real and becoming more tangible to you, you are blocking this, because you, as soon as it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna manifest this into my reality now, I'm gonna make that choice, I'm gonna create that, I'm gonna choose to do this fully, put everything I am into whatever this thing is that you're questioning. As soon as that gets down into this real world tangible aspect, you are looking at that purpose when it first came through and saying, no, I'm not ready to change that drastically yet. I'm too attached to how this should look, what it should look like, and I'm not feeling in complete resonance with that it's going to manifest exactly how I need it to manifest, right? Mm-hmm. So you're having way too much attachment over how this should manifest into your reality right now, and that is hindering the expansiveness of this, which the expansiveness of this is going to be what actually shows you all the steps you need to take. Oh gosh, so the goal here, Archangel Uriel comes in and says, release your ego, my friend. Let go. Archangel Uriel is all about this, this personality that you've created, this ego construct, this human, this, I'm going to say lower self, But this is just the limiting perspective that the actual human has. Like we say, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, right? That's a old adage that people like to say. Exact same thing here. Your goal. You really think you can see this fully, beginning to end? Like, I'm going to laugh over that. No. Like, Divine's plan for you is so much bigger than you could even conceptualize right now. And you're limiting yourself. You're basically, because of this, almost like fear of change, and I have attachment to how this needs to go. I have attachment to the outcome. And Uriel's coming in. So again, anytime an archangel comes in, use that as a tool. Use them. Archangels love to help, but they need to be asked. So if you're having a hard time releasing to the greater good of this divine purpose that you're being triggered to, call on Archangel Uriel and ask for help. Ask Archangel Uriel to help you release, or to help you see where you're holding on to a lower density that needs to be transmuted and released, so that you can expand fully into more of this purpose. So the distant past is going to be patience. So the one thing that can distant past card position here is always about patterns, cycles we can repeat. It's like a warning. You've had this happen in the past, and if you repeat this cycle, it will turn out the same, right? Which we never want to be repeating cycles. We always want to be stepping into the newer, greater, bigger picture of what we're here to co-create. And so the distant past warning here is patience. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because patience is hilarious to me. I have no concept of patience. So maybe this is a direct connection to me. So, and this is our one-on-one relationships. This is talking about our one-on-one relationships and aligning this willpower, right? So willpower is that, again, it's this lower self energy. It cultivates the energy to actually move forward in doing what we're supposed to be doing. And so it's talking about us having this willpower, this momentum in this human field to basically connect to our one-on-one relationships. But the wisdom here is that the patience, and I'm feeling like it's the patience of basically here, because it's a distant past pattern. It's almost like you have the willpower, the momentum to create these changes, these connections to the relationships. And there's almost an air of what we consider to be patience and what we consider to be like a delay, where you're like not willing to move forward because of fear of outcome of how something happened before. And so the one-on-one relationship would be saying that you're looking towards this external validation factor. So if it's your partner that you look for validation from, if it's your a boss or a coworker or a best friend, and you spill your hopes and dreams to them, right? And then you look for them as a reflection of like, am I being validated? Am I okay to do this? Mm-hmm. Right? And so because of whatever their reaction is, you had the willpower, you had the momentum, and because of their reaction, it almost slows you down, and they give you words of wisdom, what they think, right? But it's actually a deterrent from you to pursue your dreams. So that's what this is. This is kind of indicating, don't repeat that pattern. So the future is evolution, and we're manifesting this ability to evolve. So this is the Phoenix card, right? So it's the burning down the old and growing into the new. And this is all about your highest self, your soul self, that which is the divine component of you, aligning again to this willpower, this momentum, this human energy. So this is high self aligning to low self. This is the bridge card. This is basically saying you can do it, and you're manifesting this energy to basically step into this new reality. And so the attitude, your position, shame. So we're going way back. Shame usually happens. So this is another shadow card, and this is shadow side of the solar plexus chakra, which, guys, we've gotten so many solar plexus chakra cards here. This is all about the low self. So because this has happened before, because you've tried to do this before, you still hold a component of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I failed last time, I'm gonna fail again, right? It's all these I statements that we attach to ourselves. I'm not good enough to do that. This concept is way too big for me. How could I be the one who's supposed to bring this through? And so it's all these I statements that basically trigger this lower self-confidence, this low self-esteem, this shame, right, that we hold on to. And so basically, again, call on Archangel Uriel, because the goal here is to release this. It's to release those densities that are holding you back from achieving this goal. So how other people see you. So this is the people surrounding you in this situation. Here we get here, interesting, because we're getting a hyper crown chakra. Hyper crown chakra is basically we're playing a role, and so really interesting, because our shadow side of our foundation was this. The shadow side of the foundation, or where we were growing from, was attachment, right? We're too attached to how this thing should look, how this thing should, like, basically how this thing should manifest into our reality, and we're too attached to that outcome. And so there's fear in letting it basically manifest in complete trust, right, from us. And now the outside view, people are seeing us almost acting a role or playing a role here in attachment to our spirituality. So it's funny, because it almost is saying that people outside of you are seeing you playing this role but not actually doing it. Like, you're saying it, or you're speaking it, you're letting people know what this purpose, this passion is, and now you've done it so long and maybe talked about the change or talked about what you want to do so long, shared with these people, and now these people are looking at you and going, oh, I was going to say the poop or get off the pot, right? It's almost like, so are you going to finally follow this? So you've been telling this for how long? Are you finally going to do it? That's kind of so it's this disassociation, like, people are waiting. So your hopes and fears. So this is the heart chakra card. So again, heart chakra is what keeps us in that complete expansiveness. And so our hope is typically our hopes become our fears, because our hope is that we can be completely aligned, balanced, harmonized, connect completely in a really balanced, loving, harmonized way with everything. But then again, when you look at that, you get the opposite pendulum swing. And the fear here is also that if I go after my dreams, or if I really bring this through and just completely trust, open myself, become vulnerable, that this will be the path I'm supposed to follow. If we do that, then we have to completely surrender, again, ourself and our attachment to what that's going to look like, and trust completely that Divine's got our back. And that's an intangible thing that becomes really hard for people. And so last card, the outcome. Oh! So pulling back from sacral chakra. So here, this is, this is literally telling you to stop listening to whoever that is. There's somebody, this is one-on-one relationships, this is lacking emotion, there's some trigger out there that keeps taking away your validation moment. Like, you are ready to do whatever it is you need to do, and then you get triggered by this external relationship that takes all of your momentum and willpower away. I'm seeing it in distant past, I'm seeing it in your foundation, I'm seeing it in other people's views of you, and so there is something that keeps triggering you. So you got to get past this relationship that you're looking for validation from, that is actually hindering you from. Is that too rough? That's not usually, that was a very direct message.
No, but that's good. I think this could also mean, like, even just listening, like yourself telling you.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do it. Yeah.
So when you're triggered, because it's the word on the card is lacking emotion, and it means something is triggering you to pull back from the emotion, right? The complete, in sacral chakra is that complete, passionate, expressive, creative energy that's flowing through you. And here it's saying there's something that's triggered you that made you feel less than, that's made you pull back from completely expressing that. And so basically to listen to yourself and allow yourself to be the guiding light here, and to trust, because in the trust is when you're going to have that future moment, which is everything aligns, your energy aligns to your high self, or this higher version of yourself that's coming through and basically creating this thing to manifest in your reality.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, another good show. We're just a little bit over. So With so much light and love, happy Friday to everybody.
Have a great day. Bye.
The Wellness Hour with Jenessee on KRMA Radio every Friday at 11 a.m.